Right guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about football, like we always do on this channel. I don't know why that intro is so weird, but let's just get into it. And today I wanted to discuss, was I wrong about the relegated teams, in particular Bournemouth and Fulham? The short answer being no. Right, that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. See you in a bit, guys. Yep. But on a serious note, that's what we're going to be talking about today, right? So, if you didn't know, which I don't know how you couldn't know at this point, Fulham drew 2-2 with Liverpool, and who was the other one? Bournemouth won 2-0 against Aston Villa. Now, great result for Bournemouth, by the way, and Fulham, to be honest, but Fulham could have probably done a bit better, like defensively, but we'll not talk about that because it's a great performance against one of the best teams in Premier League history, in my opinion. Now, when you think about Fulham and you think about Bournemouth, you think absolute rubbish. And I do as well, right? But I actually predicted Fulham and Bournemouth to go down. I didn't actually predict Nottingham Forest to go down. It looks like they are not in a great situation right now, and I'm not that impressed with Nottingham Forest after watching that Newcastle game whatsoever. They were very poor in that game, but Nottingham Forest could be a relegation candidate, always will be a relegation candidate, especially when you are coming up from the Championship. And especially when Nottingham Forest and even their fans did not expect to come up last season. So it makes it even harder. And expectations should be to stay in the league. But with a team that wasn't really like blowing the Championship away like Fulham and Bournemouth was, it's hard to see whether they will stay up. And I put Forest up mainly because I wanted to see them stay up. Not because of their team, not because of the chemistry I think they'll lack. And mainly because I like Nottingham Forest as a club. That's the main reason why I put them there. It's more hope than my actual thought process. I've gone with my heart rather than my head. So that's why I put Nottingham Forest to stay up. It seems like that could be a bit of an issue. We'll see what happens with that though. It could always go good for Nottingham Forest with all these good players they do have. But Bournemouth played really well. I didn't watch the Bournemouth game. I can't remember what game I was watching because that was a 3 o'clock kickoff game. But I'm seeing the notifications come through on my phone. I'm scrolling. I'm like, oh, Bournemouth are 1-0 up. I'm like, geez, against Aston Villa. One of the teams that people are saying is going to be a top 10 team next season. Or this season, whatever. You're saying that they're 1-0 up and then they go 2-0 up. I'm like, damn. Aston Villa were poor in that game, let's be honest. They created a lot of shot opportunities and were poor at finishing. Had so many chances to score, just didn't even get it on target. So let's be honest there, it was poor. But then Bournemouth have even brought in the Barcelona second goalkeeper, Neto, who is a good goalkeeper. He's not a bad goalkeeper. And he's Barcelona. That is good for Bournemouth, and I'm very excited to see him play in the Premier League because I've seen him before. He's quite good. I haven't really seen him in that many situations, obviously, because he is a backup and always has been kind of a backup, but he isn't a bad keeper, let's be honest here, and Bournemouth have got him when Leicester need one. We've got Danny Ward in goal. Please, can we have Neto? I'd love Neto rather than Danny Ward, please. But that's beside the point. Let's not talk about Leicester because it's upsetting me a lot, let's be honest here. But let's talk about Bournemouth and Fulham, right? So, Bournemouth obviously won 2-0 against an Aston Villa team that were quite poor. Do I feel bad for predicting them to get relegated? Let's talk about Bournemouth first. No. In fact, the answer's the same for both, right? No, I don't feel bad whatsoever. First couple of games, you can rely off adrenaline and that feeling that you get from being in the Premier League, which I kind of thought what Forest would do, but they didn't. You can kind of run off that. It's kind of like a new manager bounce, the way I'd describe it. It's oh, we're here, we're ready for it. And we've seen it many times. Norwich have had good starts before. And it's just yeah, you can have a good start, but let's see how long that adrenaline keeps you going. Because sometimes with these championship level teams, right, adrenaline can carry you throughout the season, and that's where second season syndrome comes in, right? We've seen it with Sheffield United. It's not that hard to see, second season syndrome coming in with a lot of these teams if they do stay up. So in my opinion, a lot of times, depending on adrenaline is the deciding factor whether a team will stay up in the Premier League that has just come up from the Championship, right? Because it's kind of all about momentum and spirit at that point. Because you don't have the quality of nearly every other team in the Premier League, unless you're like, I don't know, like you've kept all your really good players and then signed really good ones, but then even then you've got to mesh them all together. And that's why I kind of think, like, when Sheffield United came up, they kept kind of the similar team from the Championship, and I thought that was a good idea, because it was like, you're not adding anyone, and those players that you add, they might help, but I can't remember the last time I've seen someone come into a relegation battle from, like, for a promoted team and, like, actually save them. I can't really remember it, so I sometimes think going with your team that you came up with isn't a bad shout. Obviously for Nottingham Forest they needed to improve, because theirs is like mid-table Championship level from watching some of their games, and they had loads of loan players and stuff like that that were helping them even get to this position, and now they've lost them. They needed to recruit more, which is fair enough in Nottingham Forest, but for Fulham especially, I think they've made some really good signings, but it's just like, how long can that adrenaline take them? And it could take them all year, let's be honest. And Mitrovic, let's talk about Fulham now. Mitrovic, class player he is. Like, shout out Mitrovic for like proving me wrong already. You've already got like 2 goals already, man. And it was a dodgy penalty, let's be honest. Yeah, there was a bit of contact, but there weren't enough really. Let's be honest there. But he did well turning Van Dijk, and he gave Van Dijk a nightmare, man. He gave one of the best defenders in the world a nightmare. And I'm just thinking, no, Mitrovic, please don't score more than 10 goals, because I don't want you to. But shout out to Mitrovic, he played really well. And like, even that goal, beautiful positioning by him there. He knew what he was doing, getting on Trent's weak side there, man. Oh my God, what a goal that was. And then winning the penalty and banging the penalty in. Confidence, that's what he's got. He's got the confidence, and I like that. But let's answer the question, which has already been answered by me. Is Fulham and Bournemouth staying up? Let's just answer this question right now. No. Let's be honest, yeah. They're not staying up. I've not seen enough. Like, you can't go off one game week, and that's why I made this video. Cause I'm just like, people saying, oh, like, who's in trouble now? Oh, Liverpool aren't going to get top 4 because they drew with Fulham. Or Aston Villa are going to get relegated because they lost to Bournemouth. And stuff like that. But Bournemouth don't have a good enough squad, let's be honest there. They don't have anyone that can keep them up, in my opinion. It was a poor showing by Aston Villa, and on a different day, Aston Villa could have drawn or won that game quite easily. So let's not go there with that. But they've got a chance. Like, every team's got a chance, and that's what's interesting about the Premier League. Every team in the whole Premier League has a chance to get relegated, and that's why we love football. I just see the quality of the teams like wearing thin, and I see Mitrovic not performing at the level he should do. We've seen it with Norwich before, where Timu Puki's coming very strong into the Premier League and then just fell off a cliff. That absolutely just fell off a cliff. So we've seen it many times in the Premier League before, but I just see like Mitrovic not performing. I don't see you scoring the goals for Bournemouth really, even though they scored 2 against the Aston Villa team that is meant to be good quality. And we'll see how Steven Gerrard does, because Steven Gerrard might be in a world of like sacking in a minute. We'll see how that goes. But I just think that they just don't quite have the quality for Bournemouth anyway, and that's why I still think they're going to come 20th, even with this win. And I just think Fulham are Fulham, pretty much. They're just going to go up and down like Norwich do. And if they stay up, I'd be extremely surprised. But that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and thank you a lot.